And hi, everybody, and welcome to the Bob Show here on KYCA. We have a special guest today, and it's somebody that I bet you think you know, but you might not. So that's why I asked him to come on the show, and he said yes, he would do it. So sitting right across the desk from the table from me is Jim Lamerson. Now, I know you've heard Jim Lamerson do his commercials on this radio station all the time, and I know he owns a jewelry company over on Cortez and all that. But I want you to know maybe a little bit more about Jim Lamerson than you might know from his commercials. And of course, you're always welcome to call in here at KYCA. It's area code 928 541 1006. No, one. Is that right? 541-1016. I'm sorry. So it's 928-541-1016. Jim Lamerson, welcome to the Bob Show.
Hi, Bob. How are you?
Except for the phone call.
I didn't mean to get you all flustered.
You know, the reason I started that way, I thought it'd be kind of fun for people to know a couple of things. First of all, how long you've been around in town, how many years you've been in your location, the types of jewelry that you offer in your store that other folks don't, because you got some unique stuff in there. And then I want to talk to you a little bit about your time on city council also, which maybe some people that have moved here recently might not know. So the floor is yours.
Okay, well, thanks, Bob. I appreciate that. First question, how long have I been here? I've been in Prescott for 44 years. My wife and I moved out here from upstate New York back in 1979. And we've been in the jewelry business, I've been in the jewelry business for, 13 and 30. So I've been in the jewelry business a long time.
Okay. We don't do math on the Bob Show. So.
Yeah, I know. I noticed that earlier. I've been married to my wife for 52 years. I better remember that one. That's
yeah,
a big
you
one.
better.
Yeah, since my anniversary's coming up. Been married a long time. Been in our present location. While I've been in town for 44 years, I've been in my location with my jewelry store for 33 years. In that location,
right, just off the corner of Burley and Cortez.
Right on Cortez, and I figured after things sort of went south a little bit when I worked at the other place there for a while, that it was time for me to do my own thing. So I opened my own store back in '92, and I really was hoping that my daughter April would go into the jewelry business, but that never panned out. She became a graduate gemologist, and I thought she was going to do it, but she found other things she would rather do. So anyway, that's the end of that tune. So we handle a lot of estate jewelry. The model that I picked for my store offers a multiple level of services for the people in our area. As you're well aware, Bob, by the nature of who you and I are, we live in an elderly environment. And a lot of people that are in our type of age bracket look for places to liquidate some of their family heirlooms and things they don't want anymore and what have you. And they don't feel as comfortable going into a pawn shop environment with their family heirlooms as what we might be able to do with them in a store like ours. I'm an American Gem Society store. And American Gem Society is a organization within the industry that actually, I don't want to say is a watchdog for the industry, but it is as far as ethical standards. And in order to be part of the American Gem Society, you have to have the highest level of ethics there is. And we're re-examined every year. We're reappointed every year. And it's one of those things that I'm very proud of, being an American Gem Society certified gemologist appraiser.
Are you required to take tests every year?
Yes.
You are.
I have to be re-examined every year. And I have to keep up with all the new things, new nuances within the industries as things are changing with mining and things are changing with new laws and, federal trade embargoes and things like that. And then the society as a whole, because of the invasion of the Ukraine, right now we're not entertaining selling Russian diamonds because of the process that took place, and that's one of the things that we can do as a organization is not to foster that type of activity.
Well, see, that's something I would never have thought about. That's interesting. That's really interesting.
Well, when you think about the membership in a lot of the organizations that we all do business with, none of my suppliers that I would buy from, I can't buy Russian-made goods. Okay, so the fact of the matter is that when I deal with one of my favorite suppliers out of Louisiana, they understand that I'm an American Gem Society store, and I can't get anything from Russia right now until such time as that mess over there clears up.
Yeah. Is it true that most diamonds come from Africa? Is that true or not?
Yes, that's true.
It's true that most of our diamonds now, for whatever reason, come out of Africa.
A lot of diamonds come out of Russia too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Russia's a huge, and now they found a lot of diamonds in China. So I mean, diamonds aren't as rare as a lot of people think. What's rare is the way that they're marketed and how they're used. And there's a lot of diamonds. Not very many come out of the United States in relationship to China and Russia and Africa and what have you like that. But one of the things I can't do, being a member of the American Gem Society, is I can't deal with conflict material. And conflict material are those areas that are profiteering off the back of native people, for the lack of a better description.
Okay.
So we don't deal with conflict material.
Okay. You're kind of hedging around that some people are paid very little to do the mining.
That's true.
Yeah.
And we've had a lot of good things within the industry, and that have helped a lot of people in some of the third world, fourth world type nations get into livable housing, get real jobs, make livable wages for that area of the world.
Sure.
And the American Gem Society's been involved in a lot of that stuff. There have been a tremendous amount of, whether it's in the gold mining business or the diamond mining business or the gemstone mining business, there's a lot of things that have been real good that have happened for those people. One of the things, like, for example, we couldn't do there for a long time was use Burmese rubies because of the human rights violations over in Burma.
Oh, wow.
So we couldn't do that.
Right.
And
well, before we take our first break, I want to get Scott on the line. So you got to put those headphones on because he's going to ask you a question. Right? Put them on there, and we'll see. Okay, Scott, are you there?
I'm here.
All right.
Actually, it's not so much of a question as it is a compliment because I don't think most of the listening audience knows, and it's been a long time since I've been involved in the business, but the American Gem Society certification was so much greater and far more reputable than, say, Gemological Institute of America. It is really the gold standard.
Thank you for that comment, Scott, because that's a fair statement. And one of the things about the Gemological Institute of America, in order to be part of the American Gem Society, you still have to go through the process. The difference is we're re-examined every year. You can go get your graduate's degree and be done with it, like so many people have done, and you're never re-examined and reappointed. So you're not keeping up with the current trade and standards and what have you, like you have to with the American Gem Society.
Yeah, well, the guy who taught me how to facet stones, colored stones, told me the story. He knew the people who started that and the history behind the Gemological Institute of America. And yeah, it's interesting. They've come a long ways, but they're not AGS.
No, and that's a fair statement, and that's true. And I thank goodness in my lucky stars every day, having been in the industry for as long as I have, that we have both organizations because they both provide a tremendous asset to the industry.
Good enough. You take good care. I'm glad to hear you're here. I thought you were in Texas.
No, I'm not in Texas. I was in Texas for a while, but I came back.
You know, Scott, if he was in Texas, they'd throw him out anyway, so you had to come back.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I seem to remember, and now my brain is going. I'm probably in a senior moment, but Steve Blair talking to you when you were in Texas, so I don't know.
Oh, that's
yeah,
right.
Blair was aware that I went to Texas to go hog hunting, so that's what he was probably talking to me about.
Well, I hope you had a good time and you got a big hog.
Oh, I did.
Thanks, Scott.
But thanks, I appreciate it.
Take care now. Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye. Well, hey, that was a good call. That was fun. That's kind of interesting. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, I'm going to ask Jim what makes a precious stone precious, if that's a fair question or not. But even if it isn't, I'm going to ask you anyway. So stick with us. We'll be right back. And we're back here on the Bob Show. I'm Bob Roecker, your host. We're talking to Jim Lamerson today. And before we took our first break, I said I was going to ask him a question. If you want to give Jim a call and ask him a different question, you're more than welcome to do that. It's area code 928-541-1016. And you can ask Jim any question you'd like. But I asked, we were talking just before the break about what makes a precious stone precious. And you during the break was saying there's 5 basic kinds of...
Well, yeah, Bob. Number one's rarity. You can look at that element as being very important. Durability. If you can't wear it, there's no point in having it, really. I mean, when you think about different things. So you have rarity, you have durability, those are some of the things that make a gemstone more precious. And then the biggest one for me, and probably for a lot of people in my industry, is availability. If it's so rare, like the material that painite is a beautiful red material that's durable, it's red, it's beautiful, but there's not very much of it around, so you can't market it. So
where's that mined?
It's mined in different places. A lot of it comes from outer space.
Oh,
yeah. So anyway,
okay.
It's just stuff. And so when you think about that, another one that comes from outer space but also comes from Arizona is peridot. Peridot comes from all these things that fall out of the sky.
Meteorites and that kind of stuff.
Asteroids
materials,
or whatever.
Yeah,
whatever
okay.
they call them.
Yeah.
And they found peridot in that material. As a matter of fact, there was some that hit over there by Williams in Arizona many, many years ago, long before I was ever here. But anyway, yeah, those are some of the things that create desirability is another one. Desirability is a big one. If people don't want it, it's not.
Yeah. Yeah. Are diamonds still a girl's best friend?
No, it's the guy that buys it.
That's
no. You
know
got
what I'm asking.
No, you gotta be real. Yeah. So, I would have a tendency to tell you that.
Diamonds are still in favor, right?
Yes, diamonds are very, very highly sought after. One of the things that's changed the industry a lot, though, in my humbled opinion, is the advent of lab-grown diamond. Laboratory diamond is different than imitation and things like that. It's real diamond. It's just not natural. So they've been able to reproduce.
They have a different name for them, right? Zirconian. What?
No. That's an imitation.
Okay.
CZ, moissanite, all of that material imitates diamond, but it's not diamond.
Okay.
Laboratory grown diamond is real diamond. It's just not natural.
And what's the value between
It's huge.
Okay.
A
lab-grown one is
less expensive than natural.
Okay.
And the rarity factor that you can produce in a laboratory a whole lot of things that you can't find naturally. So that's one of the things that when you think about that, it's how many 1 carat flawless diamonds can you really find out in the woods?
What's second on the list? Like sapphires? What?
It depends. It depends on what you want to consider rare. Alexandrite's a very rare stone.
Oh,
okay. And to find alexandrite in its top form is very expensive also, and they're not really available. There used to be some pretty good supplies that came out of the Urals, but that all played out. And then they found some material down in Brazil, and then they found some material in Africa, but it never rivaled the Ural Mountain material.
Oh, okay. So some of the stuff is better from different parts of the world than others.
The elements in the conditions upon which it would have been naturally created is different. So that's some of the things that we take into consideration. For example, you've heard of the old Kashmir sapphire being such a rarity. Well, it is, because the mines that really top-notch type material came out of played out many, many years ago, and it was the color, that crisp, vibrant violet blue color that made that so desirable.
Right.
So, and that hasn't really showed up. The closest, in my humbled opinion, and I do have one, and it is humbled, that for beauty and brightness and stuff was some of the material that came out of Montana. And the problem with the Montana material, it was very small.
Oh, okay.
Very small.
Yeah.
But it's very bright and very pretty.
All right. We got Ann on the phone. So let's see what Ann has interest in. Ann, are you there?
I am here. Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Jim.
Hi, Ann. How are you?
I'm doing good for an old bird.
Well, you about scared me to death. I didn't know if it was my wife, Ann, or not. So
No. I have a bracelet that my grandmother gave me from when she was a girl. and I think it was probably from about. She was born in the 1880s, so it probably was about the early 1900s, maybe 1905, in around there.
Uh-huh.
Still there? Oh, okay. And I was just wondering how do you validate what the value of that is?
That's an excellent
I think
question.
it's made out of like a bronze or a brass. Not brass, it's not bright, it's a bronze
Would
material, and it's etched in different little sections and then hinged together, and it's in really good shape. It's not damaged at all.
That's one of those things that it's probably going to be looked at from an antiquity perspective rather than a material perspective. And the rarity factor that comes into that is what the actual product is. It's like antique furniture or anything else. There was only so much of it ever made. And that's one of the things you apply to the value when you look at some of these things. And we do the market data research, and we find comparables out in the marketplace, even if you can find comparables. So there's an art to doing appraisal work.
Yeah, you should bring it in, Ann, and have him take a look at it, and he can at least steer you in the right direction, if nothing else, right, Jim?
Yeah, you're more than. You know what? We're open on purpose.
I get.
You're more than welcome to come down to my store.
I'm afraid to go in.
Well, you don't need to be afraid. We don't have teeth that long, and we don't say there's a live one coming through the door. So bring it in.
Right.
We'll take a look at what you've got.
All right. Well.
Yeah, I will. I will bring it in. Thank you, and thank you for everything you do for the community and all the work you've done.
Thank you. I appreciate that because I love Prescott.
We know about it, and it's appreciated.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks, Ann.
Okay.
Appreciate it very much.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Yeah, Ann brings up a very good question, and we only got a minute left before the hard break at the bottom of the hour. We are going to talk about civic things a little bit after the hard break, but before we do that, hold your cane up real quick and show everybody you do more than just jewelry. You make things like that cane you're looking at, folks, and paintings too.
Yes, I do a lot of paintings. I don't paint as much as I used to because my MS has gotten to the point where it hurts my hands to hold the brush. So it became a whole lot easier for me to embellish the canes, letting the glue do all the dirty work.
Yeah, there you go. So you can find a unique cane if you need a cane at
I do them for people.
Oh, okay. So somebody
Memory
comes in and
canes.
requests. Yeah,
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we got about 10 seconds left before the hard break at the bottom of the hour. Stick with us on the Bob Show. We've got a lot more to come. We're going to talk a little bit about Prescott when we get back. So stick with us. We'll be right back. And welcome back here to the Bob Show. I'm Bob Roecker, the host here on the Bob Show. And by the way, Wendy and I are going to the rodeo tonight. So if you're going to the rodeo tonight and you see us and recognize us, say hi, and it'll be kind of fun to talk to you. We're talking to Jim Lamerson today, and I want to move on a little bit now from what we were talking about at the first part of the show, and talk a little bit about civic things. And I want to, in addition to boards and commissions that you've been on over the years, the first question I want to ask you is, give me the dates that you were elected to city council.
I was elected to city council
first time
in 2003.
Okay.
And prior to that, I was the chairman of the Chamber of Commerce, board of directors of the Chamber of Commerce for about 10 years. And then right in the middle of those things, a guy by the name of Sam Steiger came along and wanted to divest the city from subsidizing an organization that eventually worked into the PDP. And we developed the
Prescott Downtown Partnership.
That's right. We developed the precursor for that. And now what you've got is a business kind of environment that's all private sector done.
Sure.
It's not being subsidized by the city.
By the way, I want to caveat in here, and I was meaning to do this at the beginning of the show, and I forgot till just now. We lost a citizen just recently, Marvin Pitts. And Marvin Pitts worked with us, both of us, I'm sure, at the Chamber of Commerce, and had a tremendous effect on our community. He was a great guy. I worked with him trying to develop getting industry moving into our area. When I say industry, bigger businesses that come to the area. And he was just a delight to work with, and love the guy. And I was sorry to see that he passed.
Yeah, me too. I was sorry to see him pass. But, we're all going to do that.
Yeah, we are.
One of the things I will say that Marvin left is Kevin. I like Kevin.
Okay.
And I still serve with Kevin in Rotary. So,
okay,
I don't want to mention Marvin and not mention Kevin.
There you go. And Dee.
Well,
Dee's probably the brains behind the whole outfit anyway.
Probably.
Yeah, I'm sure. Okay, so you were elected first in 2003.
Right.
So you served a 4-year term.
I served 4 consecutive 4-year terms.
There was no break.
No.
Okay, so you're 4-8, you were 12, 16 years
yes, I was
on
16
Prescott City
on
Council.
Prescott City Council, yes.
And I was there from 2001 to 2009.
Mm-hmm.
Served on there for 2 terms, and I was there for 2 years before you came along, which I couldn't remember. So yeah, and I remember you helping me get elected the first time around, and so it ended up being 2 terms, and I jotted down some stuff that I thought we would have in common that we could talk about in the past. And for example, there's a barrier on Highway 69. There's a break there that, remember, for a period of time there were a lot of head-on collisions going on Highway 69, and I can remember Bob Bell and myself going, gee, we've got to do something about it. You were on board with the whole concept, and we got ADOT finally to put up that barrier. It's kind of ugly, but it keeps cars from moving from one side of the road to the other. And I was thinking about basic services and how when you were on council, you were always focused on basic services. And there are things that people think about in basic services like fire, police, those kinds of things. But there's also other things that I would think about as basic services, and that might be like one of them, where a little bit of highway safety and getting a company or a group of people like ADOT, which were horrible to work with, to put up a barrier or something like that.
Well, there's different groups that are horrible to work with, Bob, but our role when we were on council is to be able to learn how to work with people.
Of course.
And that was one of the things that needed to be done. Public safety is a very important feature. And whether you're dealing with water issues or you're dealing with sewer issues or you're dealing with police issues or fire issues or whatever, basic services and keeping the community safe is the priority, or should be the priority focus of every city council member, period. And some of the things that you can buy when you're flushing money would be like open space and what have you. But priority for people like me is first, until you're completely safe, which we're still not. There's things that we're still not totally safe on, and we're working on them. and we continue to work on them. And some of them could be issues at the airport. Some of them could be issues on the highway.
Sure.
69's been a mess since I moved here.
Oh, yeah.
And, it's still a mess. And one of the things that you need to always keep in mind, being the work center of the county, being the county seat, people come to Prescott every day, and then they go home every day. So you're going to have a significant amount of traffic out there on 89, and you're going to have it on 69, and that's just the way it works.
Of course.
The role of a city council is to be able to work with the other governmental agencies that are duly affected to make sure that the public is safe on all those roads.
Right, absolutely. And Highway 69 is a mess, and it needs to be addressed in some way, fashion, or something's going on. Before we take a break, I want to touch on one other thing real quick, and that was hazardous waste collection. Before we got on city council, there was no such thing in Prescott. We came up with the concept, why don't we have a hazardous waste collection weekend or day, and we started that, and it was so successful. And then Chris Kuknio, when he got on council, he really focused on it and kept it going, and did a thing. And now people look forward to those days, and they're bringing stuff that would end up somewhere it shouldn't be, other than the fact that city council did that kind of work.
Well, I compliment Chris Kuknio for that, because to be very candid with you, being a garbage man, so to speak, he was in a primary perspective to be able to see what was being thrown in the trash. And those are some of the things.
Well, he knew the importance of keeping it out of the trash.
Right, exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly, and out of the dump.
Yeah, out of the dump.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, at the end of the day, it takes people that have hands-on experience to be able to focus on that first.
That first collection day we did that, I was out there the whole day, and we had stuff that was blowing up.
Yeah.
And it was kind of scary for a while. We got a couple more items I want to talk about real quick after the break, so let's take a break now. So stick with us. We'll be right back. Yeah, and welcome back to the Bob Show. We're talking to Jim Lamberson. We're talking about civic issues. We talked about jewelry for half an hour. Now we're back on civic issues. And one of the things, we're talking about basic service things that councils can do. And one of the things that happened while we were on council, I think maybe just you on council in this one, was the 911 call centers, the putting those call centers together. Do you remember that issue?
Yeah,
okay,
I do.
Talk about it.
I do. I remember the issue, and one of the issues that we didn't have a real good communication to relate, so we put in the call center right there across from City Hall, and what that did was
still there.
It expedited the opportunity to do different things, and when you're in a situation with drugs or a wreck or whatever, you don't have time to mess around. You need to be able to dispatch right away. So that dispatch center has been a real valuable asset for the city of Prescott, and it's probably saved a lot of lives.
And it probably has, and it's something that people probably don't ever think about, but it took, city council to get the folks together, like you were saying before, all the different associations, and put them together to develop, to get them in one place.
And not just city council. It took a lot of city staff. You have police chiefs, you have fire chiefs, you have department heads. All these people collaboratively worked to create something that was good for public health and safety here in the city. And I'm very proud of all those people.
Yeah, absolutely. Another thing that's going on this week is the world's oldest rodeo. And how proud we all are of having that in Prescott, Arizona. And it was during, I remember it was during the time I was on council, because we went out to the rodeo grounds because the city at the time, this is in 2008, 2009, maybe 2007, in there somewhere, where the city bought the rodeo grounds from the county. You remember that?
Yes, I do.
And the reason we bought it, go ahead.
Well, the reason we bought it because we wanted to have influence over what's going on.
Right.
And we put up a lot of money to procure the rodeo grounds to be kept here in Prescott. And I love the story of Sam Steiger and Payson, Arizona, telling them that
they didn't have the world.
They didn't have the earliest rodeo because chasing a bunch of sheep around a pasture doesn't qualify as a rodeo. Remember Steiger when he did that? That was really pretty funny.
Yeah, Sam Steiger was a unique individual. He used to live here. He was very colorful. He was in the House of Representatives.
46 years of public service.
And I didn't know it was that long.
Yeah.
And he wrote a book called They Should Shoot All Attorneys or Lawyers or something like that.
Sounds like something he would have said.
Yeah. He was a unique individual, to say the least.
Yeah, he was. He's part of the reason I ran for council. Yeah. He called me up on the phone and told me to get my posterior down to City Hall, and he meant right now.
Yeah.
Not 20 minutes from now, right now.
Yeah.
Get
well,
down here.
You were natural to be on that council. It was just kind of something that you just fit right into. A funny thing about this rodeo grounds thing, and you've forgotten all about this, but I haven't. After we bought that, we as the council walked out into the dirt at the rodeo, and everybody was clapping and cheering. The city bought the citizens. Agreed to buy the rodeo grounds, and we bought the rodeo grounds. And I was standing there, and I said to you, and you've probably forgotten this, I said, I'm going to do a dirt angel. I'm going to lay in this dirt and do a dirty like a snow. You doing the snow? And you said something to me like, it'd be a little undignified, Bob, if you did that. Plus, you'd get your hat dirty or something stupid like that to me. And I didn't do it. And I look back now and I think to myself, I should have. I don't know why I didn't do it, but I should have gone ahead and done it.
Well, you would have had a lot of time between now and then to at least wash your hat.
Yeah, that's right. That's such a kind of funny things, that happened when you put yourself out there and provide, run for an office. You never know what might happen to you and who might, hate you by the time the whole thing's done. You never know.
No, you don't, but you find out.
Yeah, you do. I got to tell you a real quick story. I had the opportunity to have dinner with the Tuskegee Airmen when they were here in town when we used to do the air show out. And I'm telling you, it moved me to be around those guys. and how smart they are, and how involved they were. Even in their older age, when they were here, they were just having a ball. They were just all having fun, and it was such a delight to be around them. I just remembered that was one of the good things that happened to you when you get a chance to be on city council. Okay. One of the fun things that happened while we're there too is, there's lots of stuff, but the adult center. We got to build the adult center, which has been used, and I notice now that when I drive by it, there's lots of cars out there. I think on bingo days.
Well, if you remember correctly, Bob, we don't call that the adult center.
Oh, we call it
It's the community center.
The community center.
Yeah,
Roldy
because
P.
it
Simmons.
doesn't just have adults in it.
Yeah, that's right. Community center. That's right. Okay, we got a break. I got a little note there to take a break. So let's take a break. We'll have one more session after the break. So stick with us. We'll be right back. And we're back here on the Bob Show. We've got 5 minutes left, Jim. And just a couple of days ago, we had a dedication of a memorial on the Courthouse Plaza. And I wanted to just touch on it, talk about it. We talked about it on break, and I'm glad you brought it up. And talk about the 19 firemen that died during that June 30th event. And you were on city council at the time. I was not. And exactly for the people that are new to our community, how impactful something like this can have and can be on a community the size of Prescott, Arizona.
Well, Bob, it's a very emotional circumstance for me.
Absolutely.
I will never get over it. some of those people were my personal friends. Now, they all worked for us. And I can remember going to the breakfasts, when we would do the breakfasts over at the gym. And
Sure.
we would do bacon and, eggs.
Yeah.
And all.
Yeah. That's right. I forgot about that.
Well, I didn't. Anyway, we would go, and those guys would always be there, and they
Yep.
were always so cheerful,
Yep.
and they were always so fun to be around. And I'm still friendly with a number of the parents too. I mean, you don't live in a community like Prescott and be here for a long time and be in a business, especially in downtown, for as long as I've been there now, 33
Right.
years, and not know people. And June 30th, I know it comes and goes every year, but one came for me that never left.
Yeah, I know it was bad. I can remember, like we were saying on break, that I came home from something, and Wendy, my wife, said something to me like, "There's been a horrible incident, and a lot of firemen have died." And she gave me a number, and I don't think it was the 19 at that time. I don't think we knew at that point. And I said, "It can't be right. It's just too many. That doesn't happen, and it can't be right." And I was in denial because it was so bad. I was in denial, and then I can remember, like I was saying on break, going into the gym over at the high school, and this is what happens in a community our size, where the community gets together, and having the council walk in. Marlon Kirkendall was our mayor, and you were on council at the time, and all of you guys filed in, and the fire chief was there, of course, and we just kind of shared thoughts and information as a community, and it was bad.
Well, it was a very bad day. It was a very bad day.
Yeah.
And I sincerely think about the families every day.
Oh.
And I sincerely think about my friends that are still here.
Sure.
And a lot of my friends on the fire department are still here.
Yeah.
And there are things that, like I told you, there's one June 30th that came that never went away. It's
Right.
with me every day.
Right. And there's dedication. We can go look at the memorial at
It's a
at
beautiful,
the square.
mem-
It's
it's a beautiful memorial.
And up at the Pine, the mall up there, what they call it, Pine something now. That there's a store up there that you can go in and look at some of the memorabilia and stuff, and you can buy some T-shirts or something up there, and so that's up there, and the shopping center has donated that space for them to be, and you can go up there and walk around and look at everything.
Is that called the Ponderosa?
No, it's called the Pine Crest. Oh, Pine Ridge Marketplace. Thank you
Pine
very
Ridge.
much. Thanks, Scotty. The Pine Ridge Marketplace, and that's a good thing. So you can go up there and see that. It's been a pleasure having you in, Jim. I think people knew you were doing jewelry, and I think they also knew you were involved in a lot of civic things. But at least we got some of the stuff discussed today, and I'm glad you had time to come in and talk to the Bob Show.
Well, I'm glad that you didn't put me through the labor of talking about some of my weird paintings.
I don't. Yeah, no, you haven't. You used to do paintings for the Courier.
Cartoons.
Cartoons on the editorial page. Yeah, that's right.
So, yeah.
All right, folks. Well, we're down to the last 18 seconds. I'm glad you tuned in. Thank you very much. Love doing the podcast, so you can see the people we're talking to. And goodbye to JP and the professor, as I like to say. And we will see you 1 month from today with another